particularly crystal clear Oxfordshire voice of mine. I do realise that most of the time I sound a bit like the Queen is being licked by one of her corgis somewhere interesting. But I do consider myself rather a proud northerner, you know. Oxford's north of London, so. I was actually in America over the summer, in Arizona of all places, which is a scary place to start with. But Eleanor is not a very common name there, and I also have a Polish surname, which you pronounced incorrectly. Yeah, I know, bad start, isn't it? So for the purposes of just being able to be understood in America, I changed my name when I was there, and I would just refer to myself as Nora Kowalski. And I thought this was a much easier name for people to understand, and it worked quite effectively, but as I was addressing myself as Nora Kowalski, I also just, all the time, every time someone referred to me that way, I was continuously thinking about myself being in one of those, like, NYPD detective shows. You know, I could just imagine the guy with the braces and the tie at his, you know, the police commissioner's desk, slamming down his paper and going, "The DA's lighting a fire under my ass, and I need results, Kowalski. Now, you may not work by the book, but my God, do you catch those goddamn killers." And then I would have the little, like, 70s soundtrack in my head going, "Freeze, you mother-ass punk." So yeah, that is the persona of Nora Kowalski. That was just the first part of my American experience. Other great things that happened was, obviously America is very well known for its quite religious background, especially in some of those more southern states. I had some fantastically interesting conversations with people about it. I actually went into one of those those mega churches, you know, the ones that have sort of thousands and thousands of people every day. And the priest at the start of the ceremony did the typical fire exits thing for the sake of safety, and then said, "But the only fire that should be burning today is the fire in our hearts." That did not go down well with me. I then had that same priest explain to me that, did you know that the 6th letter of the Hebrew alphabet is a W? It's absolutely not. It's something called a schwammer. It happens to look a bit like a W. But hey, 666, www, the internet is evil. Don't trust it. Don't trust the internet. Okay, I'll never Google again, I promise. And after that, he then, you know, went on to say, like, "I don't know much about your country. I don't know anything about your president. So tell me more about your English culture. Do you have a good book in your country? Harry Potter? Lord of the Rings? Oliver Twist? You've got quite a few good books." There's a much more aggressive religious culture there as well. You know, people would just kind of pop out at you and be like, "Hey, have you heard the good news about Jesus?" It's like, "Oh, is he back?" So that was good fun. I'm now going to move to a different part of American culture, and in order to do that, I'm going to have to get the notes out of this very special compartment. It's kind of handy when you don't have any pockets. So yeah, we've had the religious side of America. How about American pop culture? Has anyone heard of a chap called Jason Derulo? Woo! Give me a shout. Woo. That's the least enthusiastic woo I've ever heard for a pop singer, which is understandable. If he didn't say his name at the beginning of his songs, I'm pretty sure no one would have heard of him. And in addition to that, I didn't even pronounce his name properly. It's not Jason Derulo, it's Jason Derulo. So there you go. But I recently heard another one of his, you know, kind of want to stab yourself in the ear with a pencil to break your eardrum type songs, called Trumpets. I just kind of like listening to this. One of your typical love songs, driving along, listening to the radio. And, you know, I hear angels when you're here, I hear violins, I'm writing a symphony in my head here, and I'm like, oh yeah, typical stuff. And then, is it weird that your arse reminds me of a Kanye West song? What the hell song is he referring to? My Beautiful, Sick, Deep, Twisted Nightmare? That one? Gold Digger, maybe? I do not know anyone who would take that as a compliment. He then goes further on to say, is it weird that your eye eyes remind me of a Coldplay song. I thought, ah, what's left bland and lifeless? Either that, or she's got serious jaundice because they're all yellow. So she needs to get her liver checked out. And finally, out of this category, he has, is it weird that your bra reminds me of a Katy Perry song? So, yes, it's really weird. What kind of neurological disorder do you have in which you keep associating various parts of sex with musical instruments? And if it is going to be Katy Perry, who you think of, I guess the only thing it could be is that like whipped cream bra that she wears in one of her music videos. I'm going to stop this mine. That does not look great. But yeah, I have a problem with Katy Perry as well, because you know her like most famous song, I Kissed a Girl, that's her big hit. Now I always thought that song would sound a lot more interesting from the perspective of a gay man. I kissed a girl and I liked it. Hope my boyfriend don't mind it. I kissed a girl just to try it. It felt so wrong, it felt so right. See, now that's an interesting political statement. Identity politics, huh? That would have been a bit more fun. And seeing as we're talking about analogies with sex, one that my sex education teacher had at school for us was, and again, you can tell from my voice, I went to quite a posh school. There was one girl at school who complained that while her brother got to go to up Mount Everest for Christmas, all she got was another pony. So in this all-girls school with very innocent twee little girls, one girl coyly put up her hand and said, "Miss, what does an orgasm feel like?" And my lovely Welsh sex education teacher said, "Well, it's a bit like a sneeze. First it tickles a bit, then there's a big whoosh, and then it's all over." I thought that's just like class A description. I mean, a bit depressing, but that is kind of how it goes. And another part of sex is the Hollywood depiction of sex, which hasn't really been spoken about a bit here. But you have that weird thing of the wrapping the bed sheet around yourself in the morning. Like, you've just spent the night butt-arse naked with someone, why the hell are you so coy the next morning? And additionally, no one actually has those weird little thin bed sheets. What you actually have is a huge-ass duvet, pulling that off the bed, and then waddling around the flat, not looking particularly cool. And what happens to the socks? Where do the socks go in those striptease things? Yeah? You don't have the da-da-da, da-da-da, and then you've got to do what I call the dance of the denim, where you're trying to wiggle your trousers down, and you have to do that thing of like da da, where you step on one trouser leg, da 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 da. I genuinely make that noise. Makes it a bit less awkward because, you know, we've got to add comedy to everything. So we just feel too insecure to do anything without getting a few chuckles. So yeah, there's lots of silly noises going on. And to finish off, since we've been talking about popular music and university and sex and all that wonderful stuff, I have a very open relationship with my family. I'm very happy to say things like, you know, I'm really wanting to go and get out there, you know, just sleep with everyone, have a good time at university, meet lots of guys, have a different man every night. And so I want to sow my wild oats. So what my godfather told me in response to this is, "Eleanor dear, you can sow your wild oats, but you can't live on porridge forever." Thanks very much.